Happy podcast day, Falcon Paladin. Hello, Falcon. Falcon. Falcon.
Sorry, when my tab started playing stuff, and I was like, what was that? And it was Reddit.
Oh,
So it's closed now.
why are you browsing Reddit on the podcast? God.
I wasn't. I reopened the browser and, yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Anyway, happy podcast day. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
I got some snow yesterday, so I had a snowy Cinco de Mayo in my
Snowed
neck of the
in
woods.
May.
Yeah. Not like May 1st either. It's the 5th of May, which I think is well into May.
Yeah, well into, I don't know. It's into May, but I don't think it's well into May.
Statistically well into May, I'm going to say.
I would like to see those statistics, good sir.
Well, the thing is that well into is a subjective term, you see, and therefore it is not measurable, and therefore it can mean whatever I want.
I don't think it's that objective.
It's not entirely subjective nor objective. Let's just say that.
I feel like if you're in the 20s, you can say, yeah, we're definitely well into May, right?
Sure, but where's the line of demarcation is the question.
At least a week and a half.
Okay, so 10 days.
10 days, yeah. A metric week, yeah.
Yeah.
To bring that joke back.
That's how that works. Okay. Well, I'm exaggerating a bit, but I mean, I'm just saying there's a difference between the 1st of May, which is basically April, and the
Sure.
5th of May, which is not basically April.
Right. I mean, it's basically summer at that point.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely not
Utterly
basically
ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
winter. Yeah. We've been getting rain on and off like the last 3 or 4 days. It's really doing my head in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to like ride my bike to work, and then I can't because it's raining, and then when I'm leaving work, it's perfectly sunny, and then I get home and it's pissing down, and I can't do my laundry. I need to put my motorbike on a charge, and the cable would have to run like out into the rain. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna hook up a $15 cable to my however many $1,000 motorbike in the rain. Like that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, good call.
But I need to get it charged so it will start. God, it's been a headache, and the weather's just like fucking with me. I'm hating it. I'm really not enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, sounds bad. Sounds like a bad time.
Less than rain.
Yes. Anywho's, good stuff. I hope that the rain clears up for you. I hope that it turns into like, I don't know, spring, summer weather here. That'd be nice.
I mean, it's just gonna get colder and colder here for a little bit, which
Right.
not the end of the world.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
All right.
Didn't you say you've already had to run the air conditioning once?
Yeah, I did. We had like 3 days of like, oh, okay, summer weather, and then it went away forever.
Forever? Wow. Okay.
Yep, that's it.
I mean, I'm totally playing the game of like, how long until I get the heater out? And I just don't want to.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an annoying game to play.
Yeah.
I hear ya. All right. Well, there was some StarCraft. What was played?
I believe there was a group of StarCraft played.
Yes.
A group of A. Group A. Oh. Do we remember who we picked second getting out of this?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't. I have absolutely no idea.
Okay.
But Maru and Creator getting out over Shin and TY.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we just basically said Maru, and then the rest of the group was like, shrug.
Shrug, yeah.
It's entirely possible that any of these guys make it out. I mean, maybe if it was 5 years ago, TY, but he's not really the same dude anymore, obviously, as going 0-2 here.
Right.
And then Shin, kind of hit and miss too, and Creator's hit and miss. So it's just like, yeah, we tried. I really think we thought about this, and we were like, can't come up with a second person. Anybody can make it out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good on Murr. I believe these games for the English cast were casted by Raynor, which was interesting. If you've watched any of those.
That is, what's that, Rainer?
Yeah, it was Raynor.
Okay. They just had him really quiet on the cast.
You think so?
That's again, if it was Rainer, because I remember watching a Creator Shin game in particular where if it was Rainer was talking about how Banelings got nerfed and now storms obliterate them. Not that Banelings could eat storms like crazy before, but
Right.
like they're worse now, right?
Yeah.
Like to the point that that does sound like a Rainer comment though. He's like, we should just delete the Baneling. And State was like, what? It's like they're just so bad now. And I was like, yeah, that does sound like Rainer. That does sound like his sense of humor.
To be fair, under talent for English commentators on the Wikipedia page, it does say State, Tasteless, and Raynor. So if there was someone else, they're not credited.
Right.
So it was Raynor.
Okay.
Which
Fair enough.
I don't think he can do the next group because he's playing in it. Which
right.
It would be impressive to cast the game you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, you could cast matches that he's not involved in. That'd be fine.
I suppose.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to remember who I thought Rainer was, because it was another Zerg player whose English is a second language and is kind of a funny guy.
You thought it was a Spanish player.
Yes, I did. Spanish speaking, not from Spain.
Right.
So who's on Team Peru? Who's on this roster? Cats.
Oh, Cats.
Cats, because he's done casting.
Yeah, Cats is a good caster.
Yeah. And he's kind of funny. I like Cats. Okay, I thought it was Cats, and it's not Cats, it's Rainer. Got it.
So I don't know, it was like 3-4 months ago at this point, I rebuilt my computer, and as part of it, I just shrugged and said, fuck the hard drives. I'll just everything that's important on the cloud, I can re-download that. So I lost a bunch of the photos that I had lying around, and most of the photos I had wallpaper, and I just have them on a rotation for my desktop. One of them is Cats at the analyst desk for WCS, and it's just him smolderingly staring into the camera wearing a bow tie. And
yes.
So I'm sad I've lost that photo, but I like Cats. He's good.
He's wonderful.
I don't think he's in career at the minute.
Right. And probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. He's... Yeah, he's one of the guys that co-founded Root Gaming. I mean, come on. He's a legend.
I like his trivia on Wikipedia. He is known for interviewing himself.
I did see that.
On Reddit, he revealed he suffers from depression. I don't feel like these are particularly trivia, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. Cats. What a great guy.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, it's Rainer that was casting. And so Rainer believes we should delete the Baneling. Noted, Rainer.
Yeah,
I'm sure that the balance committee is listening to you.
Well, it might be.
And I really just think he meant more in this matchup. Like making Banelings against Protoss is maybe considered not super strong at the moment, but
Maybe.
Anywho, good job, Maru and Creator. So next group is Hero, Rainer, Sue, and Gumio.
That is true.
Which, I mean, just should be Hero and Rainer.
Yeah. That's Hero and Rainer. That checks out. I mean,
yeah, assuming everybody plays to what they're capable of.
Right. I mean, Sir, you could still see getting through because he's Sir. He's got to come second and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, Gumio didn't Gumio take second in a GSL? We talked about that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this group is probably going to be closer than we actually give it credit for.
Yeah. Right. I mean, the fact that we're saying Hero and Rainer doesn't mean I don't think that I think there's a wide, huge, unescapable margin here. Like I can definitely see Gumio taking a map off either Hero or Rainer. Honestly. I mean, I wouldn't put money on him making it out, but making it tough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I look forward to seeing these games.
Definitely. Once again, it's another 3 a.m. situation for me.
It's like 6 p.m. Not happening.
Nope.
No.
But I
I think
do
it's
try to
7.
watch them the next morning. So,
Fair enough.
yeah. So, who is it? Tasteless in State on this one? Probably then?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it was anything else.
Why does Tasteless do it but not Artosis? That's what I'm curious about.
The Tosis lives in Canada.
Sure.
He's not available
He
to go
can't
into.
fly to Korea?
No, he doesn't want to fly
Oh.
there, spend like 6 weeks there for doing 4 days worth of work. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, he's doing remote casting for Brood War.
I guess the fee was better for it was more agreeable for him. I don't know. He's opted not to do it. There's got to be a reason, right?
Yeah,
I'm just
totally.
guessing.
I know. The sad reason is like he hates StarCraft 2, which I don't think is the case. He's been doing some StarCraft 2 casting. He's he's trying to keep up on it. If he just hated StarCraft 2, he wouldn't do any of that, right?
I think if he liked StarCraft 2, he'd play it more.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he gets bigger numbers with Brood War though.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Maybe.
part of it is because there's this like insane rabid fan base of Artosis Brood War fans out there who are crazy. And like they will watch him as he tries to play StarCraft while Mario Erotica TTS donations are pouring through.
Classic. Yeah.
Right? So
Mamma mia.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Would those dudes show up if you played StarCraft 2 and they could still TTS him to death?
Probably, yeah. I think the value there is that they can TTS him, not that he's playing.
More about the
Brood War.
TTS. Yeah.
I would assume so. 'Cause
Maybe.
that's the important interaction from chat's perspective, isn't it?
From a certain segment, yes. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Right.
Anywho, it doesn't matter. Tasteless and State are fun together.
Yeah, they're good. I like them.
Yeah.
All right. I did see as a more piece of StarCraft news, which is Max Pax is yet to decline his seed for ESL Spring.
I saw that. He's teasing us. He's
I
going to wait until like the last second to do it.
To him, I imagine it's a matter of course, and it's a foregone thing, and he's just forgotten to do it. He's like, yeah, obviously I'm not going to actually go, and he's just forgotten to be like, oh, by the way, I'm not going, right?
Yeah, it's not like this is the one. This is the time. Although it could be. That has to be at some point. I mean, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But it'd be amazing if it did.
Yeah. What do you think the reason is that he doesn't go?
Right? We've talked about this.
I've come around to the theory that he is actually an inmate somewhere, playing from like the library computer.
Right, but that his schedule lines up for every event that he competes in.
He gives prize money to the prison, and the guards let him.
He's bribing the guards. Hey man,
Well,
here's $200.
charitable donation.
I just need to be.
the
I need to be in the library from 6 to 9 p.m. on Thursday.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Like one of the guards is a huge StarCraft 2 fan.
Maybe. Yeah.
That would help. Okay, so then yeah, when he gets out of prison, bam.
No, he's in
time.
there for life. He's in there for life.
What? Oh no! What did he do?
Match fixing.
I mean,
it's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a filthy Protoss player. He's probably capable of truly evil things.
You're not wrong.
Right?
You're not wrong.
Yeah. If he was an honorable Terran, he probably wouldn't be in there for life. He probably stole some bread for his starving family and got tossed in there if he was a Terran. But Protoss, he probably killed the whole family.
Yeah.
Likely.
Yeah.
Lol.
Bloody Protoss players. All right. So he's obviously not going to go to ESL. We can stop pretending that he will. Breaks my heart, but he's not going. He's just not going.
No reason to get your hopes up. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But one day he totally will.
No.
Here's the thing. StarCraft 2 doesn't have the hype it used to, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think Max Pack's like face reveal, name reveal would be enough to bring a bunch of people back?
No.
Because he's even too recent for that, right?
Right. I think if he was like, okay, I'm going to offline tournaments, he's doing the face. No one would give a shit about the face reveal except for the people who are already here, kind of already paying attention. And we'd be like, that's neat. That's what he looks like. Cool. But if he came out and was like, I'm just gonna win everything for the next 3 years. I'm gonna pull a Serral because he's actually going to these big tournaments, and he's like,
Right.
I'm gonna prove that Protoss can do it. I think that would bring people back. That would do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then as people come back, they're like, who is this great Protoss savior? And they'd find out the legend of Max Pax and be like, he spent how many years being anonymous? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be a point in which he retires, and see people will go like, "Here's what he made, and here's what he could have made if he just came out into public sooner." You know, they'll compare prize pool totals that he just passed on.
Right. He could have returned Protoss to glory so much sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that is StarCraft 2. We'll have more GSL stuff to talk about next week. Wonderful. And I guess it's the Warhammer times.
Warhammer. Woo! This
Yes.
week was Fallen Angels by Mike Lee. Which
Pull up the book here.
I don't know when I made the mistake in school of writing angles instead of angels, but now I have supreme fear in writing that word.
They're close. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So
this is just the sequel.
direct sequel to Descent of Angels. The Decent Angels. Descent of
Which
Angels.
incredibly similar names, honestly. Like, to descend is to fall. Whatever.
Yeah. It's almost like that's intentional.
Right. Yeah.
So
our heroes in the previous book ended off with Lionel Johnson performing the crusade for the Emperor and sending back to Caliban certain Astartes and his right-hand man, Luther.
yeah.
For reasons that are apparently to help drum up recruitment on Caliban. But everyone's like,
Everyone's like, oh, that seems like a pretty bullshit answer.
yeah.
But what I will say is that we do get some specifics later in the book that like Luther's done an exceptional job at speeding up the Astartes recruitment process, taking it from 8 years to 2, which is much faster than what you would expect. Which raises the question, because like Astartes are made with teenagers. Does that mean like a big proportion of the Dark Angel Legion could be canonically about 16 years old when they're off fighting as Astartes? Like, you take a 14-year-old, Astartes training is done at 16, off you go.
Yeah.
Because if it was 18, they'd at least hit to like 20 or whatever, right?
Yep. I mean, there's no reason to wait. I mean, the reason you would wait normally is because they're not physically developed enough. But if you Astartes power them, then that doesn't matter, right? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
You can see 16-year-old Astartes running around out there, and they're ginormous. So you're not like, oh, it's a 16-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they're done, they're indistinguishable from any of the other Astartes, right? But, like, you could start with a 10-year-old, and there's 12-year-olds running around in power armor, canonically. Scary thought.
Right. Kind of is, yeah. Because, I mean, they give Astartes, like, intelligence, right? They, like, beef up their brains at least a little bit.
Yeah, they're definitely described as, like, their brains work in weird ways that, like, even though they're these hulking beasts, even, like, the world eaters are, like, I can adapt to situations where I need to think surprisingly quickly and, like, figure out how to read languages I've never seen before with remarkable efficiency. So it's like, yeah, they're definitely smarter.
Yeah, but then the question is, are they more mature? Are they better at decision-making? Are they less impulsive? Right? All these things that we hope improve as we age, right?
Some of it maybe, but like a lot of like Astartes training is also like hypno indoctrination, right? And like they know no fear, so there's definitely excising of certain aspects of humanity because they are transhuman. It's it's magical bullshit, and you just have to assume that what comes out on the other end is a relatively consistent product, and the Astartes are a relatively consistent product. So
Which is the whole goal.
yeah, yeah.
Way better than those stupid Thunder Warriors.
Oh yeah. Fuck those Thunder Warriors.
Brutal.
Yeah.
So sad. Man, learning more about Warhammer makes you sad. Anyway. Anywho, so yeah, the story picks up like years and years and years. 100 years?
50 years.
50 years after they got dumped back on Caliban, and they're like, we're awesome at this recruitment process. We're amazing.
Please let us come back, Daddy.
Yeah, and Zahariel's writing, he's like reporting on the recruitment process, and then he's like at the end, he's like, please,
Please.
please, sir, we miss you.
We wish to get honor in the Great Crusade. There's nothing to
Yeah.
do here, but very bored.
Yeah. And I forget, does he have a conversation where someone's like, if the Primarch wanted you back, he would have sent for you to come back? Like,
Yeah. So he does
you,
have...
like, asking him is not going to do anything, you know?
Yeah. That is the thing that happens. So that's Zahariel hanging out on Caliban with Luther. We also find out that Astiel was one of his buddies. Attius, maybe? No. He was one of the like aspirants from the first book that's also hanging around. I remember there being 4 of them, and I don't remember where the 4th one is. Either he died on Sarosh and I've just forgotten, or
Yeah.
this book just like glosses over him, because these books were written by 2 different people, but are remarkably consistent in the writing.
Right.
At no point,
Impressively.
if you read these books back to back, would you think they were 2 different people. And a part of that is, like, Zahariel and Nemiel are both written to be very annoying characters who don't know anything and are just like, please explain that to me. What's that mean? Every single
Please.
time anything happens.
Yeah. Please exposition for a couple pages. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah. But otherwise, I don't know. Interesting characters.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's just this is the book of the Dark Angels that doesn't give us an introductory look into a lot of really interesting culture in like a sci-fi world. It's like, here's the Caliban, and we got all that in the first book, and so none of the new culture is interesting because we've got it already, you know?
It's true. Well, the interesting thing is that the culture's been erased. Like,
that's true.
all of Caliban's, the way they were set up for centuries and centuries is just gone at this point.
That is true.
I mean, the planet has been turned into a Astartes production planet and a raw materials extraction planet.
and
Right?
Imperial Army recruiting center as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a giant conflict in the book, right? I mean, they're skipping ahead a little bit here, but there are these rebellions going on Caliban. And eventually we realize that they're being led by, you know, former leaders of these knights and these, what do they call them?
Nobles.
Well, I mean, they're like clans. What's the group? Orders?
The knightly orders, yeah.
Yeah. So like leaders of previous orders who are like, our entire way of life has changed. Like
Right.
everything we knew is gone. Like we're not happy with our living conditions, and then we have to work in mines, and that's not what we want to do. And yeah, so they're basically like, we're gonna throw off the yoke of the Imperium, and it's
Right.
like, you guys.
They do interrogate that idea with Zahariel and Luther talk about, like, when they have like a parley with the leaders of the rebellion, that like some of these people are just nobles, right? Like they just want their power back. They want to like live comfortably in their lives and like leave all of the toil to the worker caste, and like their profits are and like the esteem of their noble house is declining because the Imperium's on the ascendant on Caliban. So like, whether or not the Imperium is like overly harsh in their exploitation of this planet, which is, I mean, arguing in degrees of exploitation, is Yikes. But the people necessarily benefiting most from the rebellion are not the people in the riots or who are manning the attacks on the imperial stations or whatever. Like the people who are actually trying to gain their freedom are going back to lives of like medieval living standards and toil. It's like, is that much better?
Right?
In
At
planet,
least you're outside more.
I suppose you get to be in nature. I mean, nature on a death world where butterflies will eat your face, and
Right. But again, they wiped out the beasts. I mean,
the great beasts, not
the
all of,
great beasts.
not the bears.
You still do have butterflies that can eat your face. You're right.
Yeah. Although, okay, so the lion cleared out the great beast with Luther and the rest of the knights.
Yeah.
It is maybe implied that the Imperium, because they're knocking down all the forests to build arcologies and mines, where actually they're doing like strip mining off like mountaintops and stuff, but like it could be implied that like such total devastation for production of industry is killing off all of the natural normal animals, which are still hugely deadly. But it could be implied that like the destruction of natural habitat is killing off everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, right. They're strip mining the place.
but it raises the question: could Caliban, as a natural ecosystem, recover at this point, even if you were to shut down all Imperial operations?
Right. I mean, there's that problem, and the other fact that the entire planet is horribly warp tainted.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoopsie daisy.
Like, one of my big questions after getting through these two books is like, the Emperor couldn't tell? Like, he came to this planet and was like, what's up? Nice to meet you all. There was assassination attempts, but like at no part was he like, this planet is warp fucked.
Right. Okay.
Right?
So in the first book, Zahariel goes to kill like the other warp lion.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Watchers in the Dark are like, leave the Northern Wilds. Right. This place is where the warp taint is specifically, and that's where like the arcologies that most of this book take place in, like with all the outbreaks of warp fuckery. They're all in the north now.
Yeah.
It is very explicitly said that the Emperor does not go to the north. He goes to
Sure.
Alderuk.
Sure. But like as part of the process here, we find a new planet. It's not like, let's thoroughly check this thing for the taint of the warp before we start setting up.
So
I just look. It's just oversight in the writing. That's fine. I just feel like it'd be part of my process if I was performing a grand crusade.
yeah, maybe. I just like, I think the Emperor gives the Primarchs, home planets, a little bit way too much of the benefit of the doubt. He's like, oh, excellent. Here I have my sons who brought an entire planet into compliance, or at least their control.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. -1, right?
Yep.
Poor Angron. And he goes, great. We don't need to fight here. Let's just move on. Because the Emperor doesn't particularly care about what the day-to-day aspects of life on a planet is. He kind of assumes that, like, most psychic bullshit, or, like, a rogue psychic here and there, like an untrained one who escapes the black ships or whatever, is manageable by the locals on the planet, right? Kind of.
But that's not what Caliban is.
That's not what Caliban is. But Caliban isn't like emanating warp power into the real world.
Why not? It totally should be.
Because
the fact that it's like mostly under the earth prevents it from being detected.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Fine.
So I think the key here lies in like the ending of the book where Zahariel wakes up from like his coma for 3 days or whatever it is. Or is it 3 weeks? I don't remember.
I want to say it's like 8 months.
It's 8 months. That's right. Exactly.
Because it's like everyone kind of forgot you were here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thanks, guys. I love you too.
Yeah. It's, 8 months. And by the way, the Council of Nicaea was yesterday. Sorry, buddy.
Right.
I think when he wakes up and he remembers, and he's talking to Luther, and he's like, do you remember anything? And he's like, no, I don't really remember a whole much. And then he's like, his internal monologue is like, the rebels were doing a psychic ritual not to summon something, but to banish it. Whatever it is trapped in the planet. Like, it is held hostage in the planet. The Watchers in the Dark are not looking for ways to kill this thing. They're using Caliban as a prison. And it's
Right.
held deep underground where all the thermal generators had to be put in the arcologies.
Right.
So I think the planet is slowly emanating warp psychic bullshit, but mostly that just ends up in like mutating some animals. And if you kill the
And some
animals
people.
and some people, but like that's the Knights of Luthor were also in the north with like the I don't know, the most potent concentration is, and if like you kill the animals, it all kind of dissipates. I think it's fair that the Emperor doesn't go, you know what, I'm gonna make it a policy to psychically scan every planet myself because I'm capable of this. It's like, well, there's thousands of expeditions. Not everyone's gonna be able to do that.
Okay, but how about this? The planets I personally put my feet on, I will psychically scan while I'm here.
Well, how do you know he can do that? He has godlike powers, but he's not a god. Like,
Okay. He's not capable of detecting the intense warp fuckery of Caliban.
Besides-
and setting foot on it.
so, I mean, I don't know, what if he could do that, but it runs the risk of, like, disturbing all the latent psychers on the planet? Like, would you risk sending tons of people into blood rages just to know if the planet was warped? Because, like, once you do that, it's going to look the same anyway.
Yeah, I guess. If you can't scan without, a massive blood rage happening with all your psychers on the planet, then okay.
Like, what the Emperor can and can't do, it's all up to the author. And personally, it wasn't a huge issue to me that the Emperor goes to a planet and can't sense warp power. Or maybe he can, but assumes, like, he can't tell its alignment, I guess? I don't know, because there's a whole lot of, like, what are the Primarchs? And, like, they have souls like people, and in theory, giant, big burning candles instead of, like, the tiny little candles like normal people that like are glow in the warp. So maybe if he were to scan the planet, he'd just be like, yeah, there's a huge psychic presence here because I've got a Primarch here. You know?
Yeah, true. Lionel Johnson's pretty awesome.
He is kind of cool. I much
He's
like
got
him.
his issues.
He's absolutely got his issues. Wait till you read the next book about him.
Oh boy.
Oh, don't worry. Nemiel's great in that book. I absolutely love Nemiel in the next one.
Okay.
But like, I really like the Lion in his most recent book, and he like comes back to 40K, and he's like, wakes up from his cat nap, and he's like, all right, time to
Lol.
get shit done. Yeah, no, it's great. And he's like, I'm an old man now. He's much better there because I think he like he kind of reflects on how he was and who he is now, and I think he's better for it, which is
I think most people can benefit from doing that. Yeah.
yeah, most people can, but like the Chaos Primarch's not going to do that, you know.
True.
Yeah.
So hang on. So Gilliman's not old because he was in stasis?
Correct.
Okay. But Lionel was not in stasis. He was just sleeping and his body was aging at a normal rate.
Unknown.
For a Primarch.
Unknown. But yeah, it's unclear of whether or not he was sleeping for the entire time or a great time, and then the warp shunted him forward a bit. It's a bit of both.
Yeah. Fine.
It's unclear if he was asleep for 500 years or 5,000, or if he was shunted 10,000 years and only slept for a day but was aged because who knows? I don't think that part was particularly clear because the warp is never clear.
Because Warhammer lore is a bag of cats.
Yeah, it can be whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Yep.
Do you think he slept for
Bingo.
10,000 years?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess I don't care. He's old. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, yeah. So so the other side of the story here is Lionel Johnson being like, damn heresy. He's like, what can I do? He's like, what can I do to stop Horus here? And he's like, well, it would take us way too long to get there. He's like, but there's this Forge planet that I have sussed out is supplying Horus with materials for war that he needs to win this thing.
Right. It's he goes. Horus is like fortifying on Istvan 5. He needs a Forge World's worth of material to do that. Here's the nearest Forge World that is also like maybe on the path to Terra. The idea that he's securing the route like a step towards Terra as well as stripping it for resources. And so he's like, okay, I can't disengage my entire forces here from this. I think he's fighting orcs at the time. But I can take a small contingent and secure this Forge World on the ground.
Right.
And deny Horus some supplies that he needs for Istvan 5. Which it's not a bad idea. Like, yeah,
And he
like logistics
does?
wins wars. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
But like, not enough.
yeah, because so the lion fundamentally makes a mistake, in which is he believes that it's Horus and like 3 legions of Astartes, not Horus and 7 more legions of Astartes. Like he
Yeah.
and like
Common mistake at this point in the
yeah.
30K. Yeah.
Yeah, so like turns out the Horus can get supplies from all over the place as he's gathering his forces, you know. But yeah, so he takes this little contingent and they all deploy, and Namiel quickly is like, "Hey, it really feels like you're not telling us something, because like we don't really have enough people to hold this if like an entire legion comes to attack us." And we can't get a lot of these materials offhand, like off planet ourselves, to like deny them. What's the deal, Lion? And he's like, well, turns out there's some like really powerful siege weapons here that I kind of want.
Yeah.
So I believe,
Which I'm not going to tell you about until you basically force me to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I believe that they're called Ordinati. Or Ordinatus. I don't think it's referenced in the book. I think they just called as siege weapons, but they are actually they're a thing. They're like models that you can get, I believe.
I believe it.
Yeah, they're basically Titan weaponry, but just on a tank, like a big tank, like a tank that's 3 times as big as a normal tank. It's
Right.
cool. It's grimdark because you need to like wire a dreadnought into it to use it. It seems. Or at least these ones. But like that's kind of it. He goes to this planet and like fights off some rebels. There's a little bit of a mystery about whether or not the local Mechanicum forces are on his side, and then he fights off some Emperor's, not Emperor's children, Sons of Horus, and then like that's the end of what the Lion's doing here. That's it.
And they almost die, and they're getting overrun, but then Dreadnought plugs into Giant Tank and saves the day.
Yeah, I mean it's a war story, so there's got to be some, suspense and some action, right?
Yeah.
But it really feels like the 2 sides of this book are just 2 short stories that they decided to chop up and put next to each other. Like, we know that the Lion and Caliban are linked, but the events on Caliban aren't revealed to be even happening at the same time as the Lion's raid on this Forge World. It turns out to be 8 months earlier. None of it has to do with anything immediately. We just know that the Lion's going to have to come back and deal with Luther, who is maybe reading 1 too many Knights of Lupus books and is drawing warp sigils on his body.
And by 1 too many, you mean 800,000 books.
Yes.
Holy smokes, this guy's been reading a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And is maybe wanting to subjugate demons.
Right.
Yes. So Luther is maybe getting a little bit warp tainted. But like anyone, thinks he's in command and can handle this. Yeah.
I mean, if Magnus feels that way, then sure, Luther feels that way too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The arrogance of man.
Mm-hmm.
And Primarch. Mm-hmm. And Luther's... What did Luther get again? He's bigger and stronger and everything, but he's not an Astartes, right?
He's not Astartes. He just was like gene bulked up or something, right? It's the same stuff that happened to like Cor Phaeron of the Word Bearers and Magard, who was, if you remember back from like book 2, was Patronella Vivar's bodyguard and manservant, and when he like slayed a bunch of Nurgle poxwalkers on the moon of Davin, Horus was like, "Damn, you're good with the sword," and he got in with the warrior lodge, and like they bulked him up.
Right.
Yes, so it's a thing that happens, but there's no name for it. They just like they gave him a bunch of steroids. Yeah. Steroids and Juvenat treatment to hold his aging.
Exactly.
Yeah. That, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah. So they figure out that, well, specifically Terrans, right? Like Terrans on Caliban are doing the rituals,
They
not
say
like
that.
native Calibanians.
So there's actually an interesting point there, which is for like a very brief moment in the lore, the Dark Angels had a Native American history, like that was their background themes.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they immediately walked on past that, but as a result, on some of the models you can still find tiny little feathers and like Native American charms as like a nod to that little piece of history. Like there's a couple of short stories that are still like, well, maybe, and is used as like a story that maybe they teach new recruits for its meanings, even though it's not true now. But you saying Native American is very on the nose, because
Yeah.
they used to be briefly for like a second.
For an entire second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely playing to Luther's bias to assume that the people conducting the rituals are Terran. And we don't ever actually sit down and talk with anyone who's doing the rituals. We just kind of see a bunch of Stardies with Zahariel bust in and start breaking up rituals and boltering Calibanite worms.
Right.
So, whether or not they are, I don't know. Maybe.
You think it's just propaganda? You think it's just like
I think
they
it is.
can't believe that their own people would be doing this, so obviously it's these off-worlders, right?
I think Luther's like entire driving force is like the defense of the Calibanite people on Caliban, and it can't like. He's like, yes, the planet's tainted, but we've kept that secret for so long, and our people haven't been tainted for so long. Obviously, it must be these outsiders, right, that we have to seize control back from. So he just kind of lumps them all in together, but doesn't actually care to check. There's definitely a lot of things that are like exasperated by the Terrans. Like they lock all the indigenous people in the lower sections of these arcologies in terrible working conditions, which the people doing all the sorcery are like, great, we need bodies, and people here are dying of famine and plague, left, right, and center. We can take all those, it's great.
Turns out the warp really likes suffering and death, huh?
Turns out, what a plot
Yeah.
twist. But I don't think it's explicitly stated whether or not they are or aren't Terrans. But what we do know is that some of the Knights of Lupa escaped the slaughter at their castle. Who knows? Like we're told that who was the one that like Remiel? Yeah, he was their training master. Who's like, I'm 112 and I'm going off on a quest.
Yeah, which is it's what they did, right?
Yeah.
Back when Caliban was all about knights and monsters, you got old enough, you're just like, well, I don't want to die in my bed.
Right.
Let's go out to the woods and see what we can do, you know?
Yeah. And he goes off and starts looking for old Knights of Lupus. And he says he knows of 5, but what if there were more? What if there was someone who snuck into the background, remembered all this forbidden lore that they had, and was like, let's keep going. Let's give it another go.
Yeah, entirely possible. It's a big planet.
It's a big planet.
Certainly.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
So anyway, so Heriel stops an infestation, and then they're like, okay, we need you. We don't really want you to kill the big one. We want you to try to control it. And he's like, what?
Yeah, it's like we need these tools. Like the Emperor has specifically ban these tools, and he must have done for a reason. So we need them, right? We need to use these things that the Emperor denies, because what else do we have? We can't match him on resources. We need these powerful weapons he's denied to us. Which, I don't know. It's never a good idea to try and subjugate a demon.
No. Every story you've ever heard in Warhammer is like, you try to subjugate a demon, bad things will happen. Even if you think you succeeded, bad things will happen.
Yeah, look at the guy from First Heretic who gets like fused to his armor. I can't remember his name.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Bad time.
But he wasn't trying to subjugate a demon. He kind of got that forced on him, though.
Kind of, but he was like down with it. He accepted it as like part of his job in the Woodbury.
As duty. He wasn't like, I'm gonna subjugate this demon because I'm way smarter and cooler and better than it, right?
No, he was like,
he's like, I'm gonna do it because that's what my dad is telling me to do.
And that's what he believes is right. Like he believes he's being like merged with like an angel or like a being of worship at least. Yeah, that's just his perspective. It's still him taking power from a demon, I guess. Yeah.
Anyway, subjugating demons bad. Yeah, so they get down there, and Zahariel's like, okay, I can use my powers here to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Really draining. It's really tough. Luther's like, here. Does he tell him some words to say, or does he like read these?
He's like,
repeat after me.
Repeat after me exactly as I do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Luther's like, I know some words. Here, use them.
Luther reads from a book.
Yeah.
He gets the book of Cypher, and so Cypher is revealed to be like this Knight of Lupus that the Primarch met and found and was like, great, we have a position of complete anonymity in the Order. You'll be great for it because I need you to keep my secrets.
Right.
But Cypher is very clearly not working for the Lion at this point. Like, if he was the Lion's right-hand man, what's he doing on Caliban? Unless he's like, hey, look after Caliban and all the secrets I left there. But then he's also immediately like, hey, Luther, check out all these secrets. Here's all this forbidden law. I mean...
Yeah, no, he's not... No, so he's 100% not working for the Lion then at that point.
Yeah.
Because Lionel, he wouldn't want that to happen. He doesn't want Luther digging into this stuff.
Mm-hmm. But it's a big point of contention for Remiel that, like, the Lion named an outsider as Cypher, right? Like... But they all just immediately go, oh, it's Cypher. Okay, moving on. I guess that I was about to say, I guess this like demon outburst is a bigger issue at the minute, but it is. It's a bigger issue.
It certainly is. Yeah, without a doubt.
I just don't know if it is for them,
Yeah.
So
yeah, end of the book. Interesting. Zahariel, he wakes up after 8 months. Luther's like, hey, glad you're not dead. That's great.
Do you remember anything?
So like, did you get the demon's name? Because Luther was straight up like, tell me your name, and the demon's like this, and he's like, that's not your name. That's what people call you. What's your name?
Yeah. What's your true name?
It gets tricky with true names, man.
Yeah.
Anyway. So then, as far as we know in that situation, no. The demon doesn't give up his true name.
But
and Luther's like, Zahariel, did you get it? And Zahariel's like, nope.
Nope, sure didn't, boss. And then he walks away and he's like, he remembered everything, including the name.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Wah. Definitely. Big reveal. I think... I know a little bit more moving forward, so I don't want to say too much. But, if Zahariel is still working for Luther, and he's like, okay... I'm willing to try again because, like, Luther's like, great, okay, you didn't get the name this time, but we'll give it another shot and you'll get it next time, buddy. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So, that made me laugh. It's like, I know you died. You literally died last time we tried this, but, like, it'll be better next time, I promise.
Yeah.
Zahariel, no. Just tell him no.
No means no, Zahariel. Um, yeah. Uh, I, I guess that's the thing that like that's what's going on in Caliban. Like the leaders are like officially declaring themselves independent from the Imperium, not declaring with Horus. We don't actually get a scene where Luther goes, man, that Horus has got a great idea in rebelling. He's just like, no, we're independent. We're not throwing our lot in with him. We're
Right,
just independent.
but what's important is if he's like, if we try to declare our independence before the Horus Heresy, we probably die. But
Right.
now we're one of thousands,
No.
hundreds of worlds that the Emperor has to worry about at this point.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to get over to Caliban and try to get us into line anytime soon.
Right.
So that's why it works. Yeah. Although, yeah, trying to be independent during the heresy seems tough. Eventually, someone's going to come along and be like, no, like,
You've got
you supply us with supplies and soldiers or we kill you, right?
yeah, you're literally an Astartes manufacturing facility.
Right.
They literally Luther literally grounds all like exports off the planet, including the deployment of like 5,000 Astartes. It's like, no, you're a resource. I'm sure
Yeah.
lots of legions would like to have you. You're a little more high
Yeah.
priority than you're giving yourself credit for there, Luther.
100%. Yeah. And then the other afterword of the book is Lionel Johnson talking to an unnamed Primarch, which they're very careful to not tell us who it is for most of this little thing. Which means, oh, like, who is this? Oh,
Did,
Lionel Johnson.
did you work out who it was? Or like what the implication of who it was when they do give you the
Yes.
name? Like you were like,
Yes.
I recognize that name.
Yes. I know who this is. I know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So Lionel just basically puts his trust in the
Go on, give it a go before
Paterbius.
Close. Paterbius, I like it. So it's Paterbius.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right.
It's Perturabo.
Yeah, that guy.
Or, much like Rowboat Girly Man for Rowboat Gilliman, it is Peter Turbo. So Peter Turbo is like, yeah, don't worry, brother. I've got your back. The Emperor's going to need to name a new War Master. You'll have my vote if you give me these 3 siege weapons. He's like, great. A deal benefits everyone. You have my trust, brother. And then Peter Turbo takes these siege weapons, carries on, and is like, sweet, off to Istvan. I'm going to make good use of these weapons.
Yeah. And he does.
Against the loyalists.
Right. I mean, they didn't just sit in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah. So it really,
So sad.
yeah. So the entire of the Lion's efforts are completely void in this book,
Right.
because he immediately hands siege weapons over to a trader. Which
And it's just tough. Like, it's not even as far as we know, he doesn't even have like any suspicious thoughts.
no.
Like, no part of him is like, maybe I shouldn't immediately implicitly trust every Primarch I run into at this time.
Right.
Right.
When I first read this book, there was a lot of implications that like the Lion knew Caliban was tainted. He cleared off all the warp beasts because they're an obvious sign of taint before the Emperor comes and the Imperium comes. And then Luther's like, yeah, we found him in the North Wilds, like living out there with the beasts. Maybe he's been warp fucked as well. Everyone else looked at him. He had a cold, dead look in his eyes. The other knights were like, Luther, shoot it, as they fill up their water bottles or whatever. And
Yeah.
then at the end, he's like, oh, make sure they get put to good use. And it's like, is this the book trying to say that maybe the Lion is less loyal than we're led to believe?
Oh. There are some implications there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the interpretations I had when I first came away from the book. I don't think they explicitly carry that on, where the Lion is less loyal. He is definitely, after being betrayed by Peter Turbo here, Paterbius, he's less friendly with his brothers, but still loyal. He's like, no, we're for the Emperor, and no one else can, like, will claim the mantle of Emperor, even if Horus wins and the Emperor dies. it's the Emperor, no one else. Nobody else is on his level. I won't swear to anyone else. Which means he does stuff that is pretty unfriendly to his brothers at times, but not outright heretical or disloyal, traitory.
He got hurt. He got betrayed.
Yeah, yeah.
Messes you up.
It's true.
And then there's the other thing where there's this whole question of, does Lionel understand how people work? Which is a fair question, I think, of all Primarchs.
Yeah, the answer's probably no.
So it's just like kind of extra easy to trick a Primarch if like they can't pick up on subtleties of trickery and deception and stuff.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. All right, is that it for this book? Thumbs up?
That's it. Yeah, thumbs up.
Thumbs up? It's a good book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do we want to read next?
What do you recommend?
So I want to hit the anthology. On the flowchart, it is book 20 in the top right. It's called The Primarchs. It is a group of 4 short stories.
The Primarchs.
Yeah. It's 4 short stories. What does it have in it? It has... No, show me the... God damn it. Had it on my phone, but it doesn't tell me like the what's actually in it. It just tells me how long it is, which isn't useful.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it here. The Primarchs 2012 anthology. It has 4 stories. The Reflection Cracked, which is about Fulgrim. Feet of Iron, which is about Ferrus Manus, the Lion, which is about the Lion, and the Serpent Beneath, which is about the Alpha Legion.
Good old Alpha Legion.
Yeah.
Those guys are fun.
So I don't think the Ferrus Manus book is particularly interesting, but the Alpha Legion one I thought was not fun in the idea that it's fun, but it's Alpha Legion bullshit, so you never know whose side's on what.
I mean, yep, that's how they work.
So that one's fun to just be like, are they loyal? Are they traitor? I don't know. What day of the week is it? The Reflection Cracked is good, but doesn't like give us a whole lot of new information. It's just like, yeah, Fulgrim's a masochist. Enjoy.
We are aware, yes.
Yeah. But the continue on with the Lion that this book will help you with knowing a little bit more about the Lionel Johnson, what he's up to before his
sounds
next
good.
big book. Yep.
So what's it called?
The book is called The Primarchs.
Oh my gosh, why are the names of these books always...
It's edited by Christian Dunn, if that helps.
Okay, not in the library's catalog.
You really need to be able to just sort by the series on the library catalog, and then just go down to the 20th book, because it's book 20.
Gotcha. I don't know if it lets me do that. Anyway, it is on the Amazons, and it's $10, so whatevs. We'll
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Boink.
Oh, good then.
I'll earn Amazon points. Hooray.
Huzzah.
I don't know what you can do with those.
Yeah, excellent question.
You can redeem it for Kindle book credits. You get $3 for every 300 points, and I have 204.
Okay. Good to know.
Good to know. All right, good deal. We'll learn more about Lionel Johnson.
Yeah, this is my favorite book with Nemiel in it. He absolutely does the best thing he could ever do. In any book,
It's the best thing.
he does the best thing he could ever do. Like he's
Wow.
super cool in this book. I absolutely love it. Standout performance by Nemiel.
Now I'm really curious. All right, we'll find out what he does.
Alrighty.
All right, good deal. Let's wrap it up. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Appreciate it. More Warhammer and StarCraft 2 next week, same time here at twitch.tv/Somicron. You can also watch VODs at youtube.com/@Somicron and support the podcast at falconpaladin.store by buying merch or patreon.com/Somicron. So until next week, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for listening or watching, whatever you do. And until then, you take care of yourself.
Bye.
Goodbye.